welcome to my channel. I'm talking today about Discord and giving an overview with 2 examples that might help you as a writer decide whether or not this would be a useful resource for you. So the first thing that I want to do is talk about a project that I as a writer might use Discord to facilitate. I have a current project that I'm working on that I set as a goal from listening to someone say this online, which was to set a 100 video goal for yourself if you're trying to figure out how to make videos. And I thought at the time, wow, that's a lot of videos. But okay, that works. And so one of the things I do when something is a new idea for me is I start in pencil and paper framings in a journal, and I write out what I think is possible and what I'm trying to do. And then pretty quickly, I will shift that idea over to a project space somewhere. In the past, I've used places like Teams, I've used places like Evernote, and I'm always kind of looking for another place that might be a cool resource. The interesting thing about Discord is they are seeming to want to facilitate this kind of use now, and it's free. You don't have to upgrade in order to have a vibrant resource. And so I want to start by talking about one example that's just mine, which is how to create 100 videos. I like having something online where I can put information into a category and then pull it out very quickly, and that's what this affords. All right, so I come into this space and I am looking at 3 white dots on the left. Those are my separate projects, and so I've got a video one, I've got a design for writers one, I've got writing course server. And they call them servers, they don't call them projects, they don't call them teams, they don't call them communities. But I want to come up to the top one, that's my video ideas. I have a little icon in there to make me know which ones are which. And I'm coming in, and you can see up at the top it says video ideas. And then I have 100 videos as a sort of overview area, and that's a category, that's the word they use for it. And then you can see that I've got inspirational resources here, and I've added in 3 people's channels on YouTube who create informational videos. And so I can move through these and go over and look at them if I'm trying to remember who did what and what I want to work with those. But I want to make 100 videos, and so the thing that I'm looking at are categories for those that help me to think up the sort of strategy. So here's apps. I can make videos about Teams, about Discord, about LumaFusion, which is the video editing that I use. How are those apps? What are they useful for? How many videos do I want to make on each of these? It's not a numbers game per se, but it helps me to categorize information. I can say something about equivalent challenges because I've worked with different sort of curiosities as I've DIY'd my way through trying to figure out how to make videos in a more professional way. And then I have videos that I want to make for students in a writing class, and so these are how to make these particular types of documents, and I could make videos about those. I have some design vocabulary. Again, that's for people who might be interested in design. Now you can see for each of these that it's a pretty simple thing. I can come into the apps. I've been putting a couple articles in here for Teams. And so this one obviously is a comparison between Discord and Microsoft. So I'm trying to get all of those apps in one space, and the writing people have done about comparisons of those different types of apps. If I want to create something within one of these categories, I simply just add a plus, and then within that it gives me a new channel option, and I can type in something here like color and hit create up at the top, and now I have that, but it's not in the right area. So if I want to move it to the right area, I want it in design vocabulary, I just go up to the top where there are 3 dots, and I go over to the cog for settings, and then in channels, I would think categories, but channels, up in the top right hand corner it says reorder, and I can say I want to reorder a text channel. I can come into color and just move it up to design vocabulary. Super easy. And so that's how it works for me as a person who's interested in this for a particular project that I'm working on individually. So if I'm working with this with a group of students, I can say, you know, you can make your own server space and you could keep track of your whole project there, and that would organize your material in a way where you weren't hunting for it. And then if you're sitting in the hallway waiting for a class to start, or you're hanging out and you have an extra 5 minutes, you can do some online research and drop different sorts of resources into areas that you create, categories that you create, and then channels that you want to create that help you to keep track of that content and what you're thinking about it. So a nice sort of brainstorming space, but organizational space as well. My second example today is from a writing community that I facilitate. I'm looking at a group of 15 people who want to improve their vocabulary about design. A pretty simple game. They're also interested in learning some basic approaches to content management systems and to HTML and CSS coding information. So when I look at that kind of space, I'm trying to figure out ways to facilitate content, but also queries, conversations, community, teamwork, because some of the material they're learning goes against or is counterintuitive to the way they think of themselves as writers. And so they need the community to sort of forge on together. And so in that case, I set it up thinking about them and thinking about the things they might like. So the first one is very solitary. The second one comes in, and the first thing it does is say, start here. You can see that I have a space here for introductions where obviously I've tried it out with hi, but then a design learning overview is another channel within that to help them see what's possible. Under our interests is something that will stay there the whole time. So if there are funny memes out there, if there are movies and shows, if there are music and playlists that they recommend, all of those are just about us getting to know each other. And that affords us that sort of familiarity that will help us with the work that we do individually and collectively. So then there's places for people to ask questions about HTML and CSS, and to then what I'll plug into HTML editors is just different sorts of free editors that are pretty good out on the web. So a very simple sort of framework. Again, down at the bottom, it has voice channels, and I've got a couple here for the two things that we're working on largely in that community. So it's a community, it needs community facilitation, and it also affords me this space where I can create that facilitation for them with one another without it feeling like a clunky discussion board. It's a discussion board, but it's a little bit more vibrant, or a lot more vibrant depending on who uses it. The other thing that I like about this for me as a person facilitating is that I can jump up to the top button, which is an icon for people in this particular case. Usually the top icon will take you around as a sort of home space. So right now, up in the top right-hand corner, it tells me who I have as members of this. And I have me in two different roles. I've created a second account and called it Impatient Oldster, and I'm using that to check how does this communication work back and forth. And what I want is one place for each person in this community where I can have email type conversations, but in one thread. So I can just have a conversation with a person, and I can flip back up to the start of it if I know I said something initially, and then come back to the bottom and respond from there. So it's a really great resource for me for facilitating conversations. And there's not one for free that I found that's as easy as this. And so that's why I would use Discord. In the next two videos, I will overview how to create an area like this. They call it a server, I call it a project or a community. And then I will go over how to set the parameters when you're working with something that's a community-based one, so that the people who are invited in are the people you want in the group, and so that you can create the kind of options that make it possible for them to have the most enjoyment without worrying about destroying something accidentally. So, you know, who can create threads in what way, what kinds of things they want to create in that space can be limited by you to the kinds of things that people normally would do in discussion boards. And so it's simply just setting those parameters, and that's a second video. And then I have a video for my writing group that I will send out to them to say, here's this resource. If you're not familiar with Discord, here's how it works. Many people are familiar with Discord, and so it also talks about how you can create a second account if you don't want those intertwined, and it talks about how to toggle back and forth between those accounts as well. So Discord is something that people use for fun, and they don't necessarily want to connect it with something for work, and so I always am trying to navigate all of those desires when I set something up like this. So the video walks someone through who's a beginner with this resource, and it walks someone through who's familiar with Discord but hasn't been using it in this way. So those videos are available on my channel. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to mention them in the comment section below. And if you like this and would like to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button and then ring the bell. It's a bell that you click, and that will let you know when there's a new video available. Again, thank you for visiting. Ciao.